Welcome back. Well, before we get started, I wanted to just remind you guys to subscribe and follow me at stilldaddy.net. You can get a link to all the different social medias that I'm a part of. Tonight, I have a difficult topic to discuss with you. In some ways, I'm kind of looking for some advice. My oldest went into middle school this last year, so he's at that cresting age that where he's sort of transitioning between being a kid and being an adult, or more a teenager. Over the last couple of years, I've tried to get him to recognize when he's being very childlike, and get him to recognize that there are better ways to handle certain situations. Probably not always in the best way, but the way that I have done it. So I'm always working on improving that. But I also don't want him to lose his childhood, his imagination, his innocence. As a parent, that is both very hard to see disappear, but I'm looking for him to engage with the world at a different level. And that transition I have seen taking effect. I have seen his interaction with his other friends, and so I've tried to guide him as best I know how. Unfortunately, I may not be the best one to guide him on that course, simply because it was a difficult transition for myself. As a kid growing up, I never had a problem making friends. Making in the initial friendship, that was always pretty easy. I had my group of friends. We transitioned, through life fairly easily and fairly well. But those deep connections, those good friends, I had a few, and some of them have lasted pretty much a lifetime. But I'm still distant, or what I feel is distant emotionally, and disconnected in some ways from them through life, and even today, and I don't know why that is. So when I transitioned, especially when I moved, I was about 14 when I moved from the town I had grown up in to another city. I had to completely change my friends. My other ones were hours and hours away. I wasn't going to be seeing them very often. We definitely didn't have social media like we do today, so the connections didn't maintain in the same manner. So it was very, very difficult, and that transition was very hard. I, of course, made some new friends, but not quickly. It took a long time. I never really felt in that first year or two that I really found those strong bonds with a lot of different people. Over the years, as I went through high school, I did develop some really close friendships with a few, and I found my group, my clique, and in large aspects of it, I still talk to a lot of them on Facebook now that that's around. Though I wasn't around for many years after I graduated. And it was interesting to see that he was going through much of that same pain recently. This past year, he moved from elementary school to middle school, and while a few of his friends did come with him in that transition to his new school, not all of his friends did. When we put him into middle school, he went to a new charter school. Well, I guess it's not a new charter school, but it was not the feeder school that he would otherwise have gone into. And some of his friends did go into that next area school, but Joe did. Some of his friends, ended up all over the city. So that's the wonderful thing about the state school system. Everyone ends up everywhere. But he sees it as there were a few friends that he had developed good friendships with over the first few years of his elementary school, and over transitioning in the middle school was initially fun, and it was exciting, and he had those new challenges, and he embraced it, and he's done remarkably well. He's never been a top honors student. He is as much into the social experience at school as most, I would say, but he's not academically driven. That said, there are a few subjects that he is absolutely excelling at, and I'm very proud to see that. But he did make some initial friends, some new friends in the school, riding the bus to school and transitioning. But he hasn't found, or he seemingly hasn't found, that strong group. Now, as I said, the school pulls from all over the city, so a lot of his friends groups are from different areas. They all came in with their own little group of friends, and my thought is that the friends that he came in from his elementary school weren't the close-knit friends that he was looking for. So recently, he has been asking to transition out of the school that we put him in to the other middle school, the standard school that he would otherwise have, or one of the other schools he would have gone to. And he wanted us to look at trying to do that, trying to move that forward. And that doesn't necessarily sit well. Number one, he has done reasonably well at this school. It ties so much, and the reason why he chose it is it ties very much into how he thinks and how he acts. And I don't want him to get the idea, more on the deeper core side of it. I don't want him to get the idea that, well, I'm not happy with it right now, so I'm just going to change. And not push through, not find where it's working well, not figure out how to deal with the situation that exists. Just, I want to fix this by going back instead of continuing to try and move forward. Because he does have friends at the new school. And I don't want him to make the change rashly, and without full acknowledgement. But on the flip side of it, he's also, reached that middle school age. Going into middle school at grade 6, it's a tough time to change and go through that period. You're just starting to develop your different groups. You're just starting to define those core group of friends, and develop who you are as a person. So I don't know how much of this is just tied into him not understanding really where he's going and what he's doing, and really who he is. But talking to him this past week, he said that he really doesn't. He feels alone, and that is a concern. He feels like he's made some friends, but again, they're not good friends, and he's trying to pull back memories from the past and apply them to the current, and thinking that if I just find those friends again, everything will be okay. And I have a lot of concerns around that. So I didn't just leave it. I talked to him about it, and actually, I mean, this evening we did, or this afternoon we did our second family board meeting. And I'll go into that in a separate call. But one of the things that came out of that was that in our initial board meeting a few months ago, it was mentioned, both the kids were struggling socially, and I have to say that in some ways I'm struggling socially as well. I'm trying to branch out, make new friends, try and do new things. But it's been hard for me. I've been hard pressed to find the time, the connection with different people, and find that groove and those close friends that sort of help make life that much more. And I don't know if that's just translating to the kids, but both the kids are finding it rough this year. My younger son is seeing kids transition. They, a bunch of his friends were in, his group, and they transitioned off to another group. And so he's feeling kind of depressed with the quote unquote loss of friends. Now he's in grade 4, kids change at the flip of a hat. So, I mean, I'm not concerned about him. I'm not really concerned about my older son. He's very social. He's a social butterfly. He makes friends on a whim really quickly. It's that deeper level connection that I'm scared he's missing. I worry about him spiraling into a case of depression. So it's not that I'm, ignoring this situation. But it's also not that I'm going to jump on it and just go with the flow and whatever he wants, that's absolutely what's going to happen, because there's going to be transitions in life that you have to deal with whether you like it or not, and you have to learn how to move forward with it, and that's a part of what I need to teach him as well. So my solution to the issue right now has been, well, okay, if this is what you want, then you have to do some work to make it happen. And the way I went about that was initially I asked him, I said, okay, I want you to write an essay where you discuss, what you like about your current school, what you don't like about your current school, and what you know and sell the new school, and argue that it's better in certain ways. Of course, he was absolutely not looking forward to writing an essay, because he absolutely hates writing essays. So I trimmed it back. I mean, because that can be kind of mean to someone in grade 5. And I said, okay, so what you've really got to do is you've got to make a pro-con list. And it just needs to be, you need to list out all the things that you like in both schools, and all the things that you don't like in both schools, and then look at it. And I wanted him to make sure that he was thinking through all the issues with both leaving the current school and all the things that he would miss out of his current school that I know he likes, and all the things that he thinks and imagines that it'll be life in the new school. And Adam broke it into 3 different categories. I told him I need you to write down pros and cons for the academic side of things. So he has to do a little bit of research on what he thinks the academically will be better for him. I also talked about life skills. So which school will give you better life skills? This will be like time management, doing homework, travel, just getting through life. And there's a lot of new things that happened with going to the new school this year. Was you had to take a bus. Switching schools, he may not have to take a bus anymore, or at least not a bus as far as it goes. So there's aspects there. And then I wanted him to bring about a discussion on the social culture at the school, and why socially he would expect, what do you expect to gain, what do you expect to lose in both choices. Trying to get him to think about the whole situation. Of course, he was very emotional about the issue, and it didn't go over too well. But I thought that I think that's a fairly good approach. So I'm sort of right now I'm sticking with that. Um, and I I think that is I talked to him about it, and I said, you know what, if I'm going to switch jobs and change jobs, this is exactly what I have to do to do that. I have to say, what do I like about my current job, what I don't like about my current job, what am I going to get out of my new job, what are the downsides that I see with the new job. And I have to run that and look at it and then discuss it with, my family. And I often discuss it with my friends and argue. I argue both sides of it, and eventually one will weigh better than another in those situations. But it's the standard struggle, and the standard sort of life decisions that you have to make. And I'm trying to teach them to him now. Trying to get him to go, figure out how to make this happen. But on the other side of it, I don't want him to be get into depression. I don't want to follow him. And if you know him, he's not a depressed child. Although I do see stints where he does get lonely, and I worry that loneliness is going to spiral. But I also don't want to be his go-to. I don't want to. I want to solve the problem, but I want him to get the skill of solving the problem for himself, rather than me just swooping in and go, "Oh, you're lonely, so I'm going to hang out with you." Not only does that take a lot of time from me, and enjoyable time, so I don't negate that, but I'm not always going to be there, and he needs to be able to do it himself. So I'm putting it out there to you guys as well. How do you guys handle this stage, this step? Have you guys gone through any similar things in the and situations yourself? How did you handle it? Have your kids gone through any of it? And any suggestions for helping out? By all means, send me a note. I am very interested to see what the masses say. Otherwise, I'll end it for tonight. But it is weighing on me, and I know it's weighing on him. But these are the parts of life, and this is what we have to go through. So we need to figure it out. That's what we're doing. Anyway, please get a hold of me, stilldaddy.net. As I said at the beginning, from there you'll find all the links to all the different social medias and means to get a hold of me. Cam at stilldaddy.net for email. Facebook, stilldaddy for you. And at Twitter is at stilldaddy for you. So please connect, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.